Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Prindiville with me, Alex Prindiville. And today we are joined by the lovely Joanne. Joanne, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Lovely, and thank you very much. Part of this autobiography brings us now on to my relationships and my love relationships in particular.
What kind of women do you go for normally?
Well, I do have a particular type. And they are generally quite small, quite petite, with kind of normally I go for dark-haired women. I like women that look a little bit Mediterranean. That's generally what I kind of go for. Or I go for the complete opposite, which are the very visual type of women that are accentuated in many areas. But generally speaking, I like fun people. So visually, I've got a look and a feel, but actually, I love fun. I love people. Where I'm mad, so I love mad birds. And generally speaking, I have to be around other lunatics, or otherwise it don't really work. So a boring bird for me is no good. I like someone who's got a bit of go. I like someone who's got a bit of chat. I like someone who's a bit of a go-getter. And I like a bird who can have a good time.
Okay, and what do you think women find in you as a partner?
Well, I'd like to think women find me funny. I think generally speaking, I'm quite funny. I've always been a bit of a comedian. So I find laughing women into bed is the best way for me. And once I've got them in bed, they still laugh. Oh, fucking hell. I have to keep it funny all the way through.
So tell me about your first relationship, your first solid relationship with a woman.
Well, before I give you a solid relationship with a woman, I'm going to tell you my first fumble.
Oh,
yeah,
thank
because
you.
Everybody needs a first fumble.
This will be interesting.
Very interesting. So my first official fumble was on a school trip when I went with school to, I think we went rock climbing in Wales, and it was like a really steamy underground, like in a cave type thing. And then I went down there and I found another girl from school, Sophie, and me and Sophie found our way in the boiler room in a school trip in Kilsbury. So my first experience was in a boiler room, hot and steamy, with Sophie, who I lost my virginity to at 14.
In the boiler room?
In the boiler room at the school trip.
And how was that?
Well, it was over before it started, and I don't even know if she knew that it happened, but I did. I remembered it, and that was it. Really, that was got me started. But actually, before then, one day my mum and dad were shouting at me for dinner. Gosh, where are you? All up. We had a big house, and what had happened was, they found me in a cupboard in my brother's room, going through his dirty magazines. But this was I was about 4 or 5.
Oh.
4 or 5, and I remember looking at this magazine with all these great big Bristols and all the big airy thing on it and all the rest of it. And I was like, "What's that?" So my mum went to my dad. Here, look, have a look at him. He's looking at birds. He's looking at fucking Bluey mags already at his age. Look, 5. So I've been sexually interested for a very long time.
A very long time. So what was your first relationship then? That was your fumble.
That was me fumble.
We've got prelude to the fumble.
My first proper relationship, really. I had, as you do with a couple of kids. I think my first girlfriend was probably, first person I loved was Imogen. Strangely enough, she had a very similar look to you, Joe, actually.
I've been told I look like a few people. So
I bet you have.
Quite universal.
Actually, do you know what? Funny enough, your look is something that I would normally go for.
Fantastic.
You have got the look for me. And then after Imogen, me and Imogen moved to London. That's when I lived in Crack House. Then Imogen ran off with another geezer, which was about right. I ended up going out with her cousin, strangely enough, Jane. And me and Jane was together for quite some time. And then me and Jane, we went and lived and I ran away to South London and lived with Jane in Croydon. And me and Jane lived happily together for some time. And then that relationship kind of fizzled out. So then I went out of another bird called Sarah from Church Street. And that was a mad one. She worked in a shop called Risky Business.
Oh, that says it all.
Babe, what it was is it was a mad antiques shop. But Sarah was a bit of a goer. She was a bit of a goer, man. Me and her had a couple of mad nights. In fact, she was a proper fruitcake. She lived out in the middle of Hertfordshire. So what would happen was I lived in Edgware Road. I would drive out there. We'd get a bit drunk and every bit. And halfway through the night, she would go a bit mad.
Switch up.
Proper switch up and start like going mental. One night threw all my stuff out the window. Then as I was going downstairs, called the old Bill. And I drove off, and then she said, I chased the old Bill, he's drink driving and everything else. So I remember sleeping in the middle of the woods one night, freezing my bollocks off because she threw me out. We was in the middle of having a night out, and she got the needle halfway through, fucking threw me out. I got into my Jeep, driving down the road, old Bill all over the gaff. I'm hiding in the fucking woods, freezing my bollocks off. So that was the start of them mad type of women in my life, which was the rah, and then the madness, and then the rah, and then the madness. So I was addicted to unstable women.
Did you have any kind of woman figure like that in your life growing up, where it was quite like calm and then mad, calm and then mad? Any members of your family maybe that?
Right. You could be in the room with my mum and the mood would be one way. You go out to the toilet, come back, and it's completely changed. So with my mum and my dad, you didn't really ever know where you was. You lived moment to moment. You lived completely on your wits because the air could change in a split
constantly read the room.
Second. Constantly read the room. My mum was a manic depressive, struggling with alcohol, struggling with medication. In fact, actually, when you look back, my mum was deeply troubled. My mum had a really bad childhood. You know, lots of bad things happened to her in her childhood, some horrific things. So my mum was really, as we talk about life now and where we are now, if I'm going to be honest with you, my mum was massively depressed and had a really bad addictive personality and struggled massively. For about 3 months, she never come out of her room. And my dad was a beautiful man, but was also hard to read, was quite aggressive, illiterate himself, trying to manage his first relationship that he had with his first wife. He left her. And then obviously went with my mum. My mum was a bit of a fruitcake as well. And as we are some men, we are attracted to broken women or injured women. I have been in my life, because you want to try and fix them. But what that ends up creating is a household which anything would switch instantly at a fucking second. He would go, she would go. If the pair of them went, it was murders. It was murders. So I lived in a very volatile place.
So you had, so there was Imogen, there was Sarah, and then after that?
Obviously after that, then I ended up with another Sarah who I fell in love with.
How old was you at this point? Sorry.
I'm around about 30, 33, 34, whatever. Again, this is pretty hedonistic in them days. I was really deep in the madness. I was loving nights out. I was loving weekends away. And me and Sarah was going for about a year on and off, up and down, left and right. And at that point, the rest of my family started having children. And I thought, okay, this is the right time for me. I was in love with Sarah. It made sense, and we had our first child being Bebo.
So how did that relationship end?
Sarah was 1,000 miles an hour, right? And she was quite a bit younger than me. And she's a very fiery character. She's got loads of energy. She can't sit still. She is as mad as me, but she's a female version of it. So at that point in time, I was going really into my business. I was doing lots of car shows. I was all over the place. And then she was a little bit of a stay-at-home mum. We then moved out into Northamptonshire, where I had set up a big car dealership. We lived in a caravan. And what had happened was she was quite young, so she was driving back to London a lot. And over a period of time, I think she felt that she wasn't getting something from me. So she started another relationship with someone in Croydon. And it all just turned into a fucking nightmare. Then I went into a dark period where it was It was just madness for a while.
So after all that madness, you still looked for the madness, or did you go with someone calmer? What happened then?
No. So now,
I'm intrigued.
Right now, I've done a 180. This particular lady was corporate. She was exactly what I needed at the time. So now we're on to Trushka. And Trushka was actually a beautiful lady, and still is a beautiful lady, and is the mother of my 2 children. But Trushka was the other side of the spectrum. Very reserved, very organised, worked in a corporate environment, and me and her kind of met on a dating app. And at that time I had Beau, so she was helping me a lot as a single parent with Beau, and she actually, was really, really supportive at the time, and an amazing person. So, and with Trushka, what had happened is I'd managed to really move the business on because I finally had somebody who would give me some time and attention. Trushka taught me how to write an email. Trushka taught me how to go into a business meeting. Trushka taught me a massive amount, actually, and was really, really helpful and beneficial to me. And sorted me out. And then all of a sudden, one day she's got pregnant, and we had a miracle child, and just the most precious thing in the world. But when we had Aurelia, the world fell apart for us because my mum died in my arms on or around the time. Trushka then had the baby and got postnatal depression, and I had a business that I was trying to get on with, and at this point I was really, really struggling. I'd then gone off and met another mate of mine called Alan. Me and Alan just went off for a couple of years trying to find what we'd lost in a bag of cocaine, which meant I was quite absentee at the time. So really Trushka had to do a lot of this heavy lifting on her own, and you know what, she's done a really good job, so hands off to her. I know we might not see eye to eye most of the time, but you know what, as a mum, you could knock her.
No.
Just the most amazing mum in the world.
Yeah.
So at that point then I lost my business, and as I started losing my business, that put a strain on my relationship with Trushka as well.
So obviously Trushka is the mother of your 2 youngest children. So there's obviously still still got to have interaction there because she's the mother of your kids, and Sarah as well. So
you know what, I'll be honest with you, Joe, I don't like falling out of anybody.
No.
Especially women. Women fall out with me. They fall out of love with me because ultimately every woman that I've ever been with gets hold of a shiny guy that's 1,000 miles an hour, that's very attractive. He's got all of the little shiny bits. And then when you get him, you think, oh, no, he's going to slow down. He's going to calm down. He ain't going to be like this forever. Oh, I can change him. Well, you can't change a nutter.
What happened after that? Because you said you sort of, your business was
so
failing
after
at that point. Were relationships still at the forefront of your mind? What sort of happened then?
Okay, so after this period, then my girlfriend at the time that helped me, picked me back up in my really, really bad depressive time.
Because you lost your dad at this point as well.
I lost my dad at this point. My girlfriend at the time used to come around, pick me up off the floor. We went through a really bad time through all the homelessness, and she helped me and supported me through this. And then she agreed to go and get a flat because obviously I was busted. I'd been all over the place for apparently robbing money off of everybody. And so my girlfriend went and got us a flat in Putney. We moved in, my girlfriend at the time, and Beau all moved into a lovely brand new flat in Putney, which is the start of me building my life back up, which has taken sort of 5 or 6 years now, from getting off of the floor, like suicidal, to being able to talk to you here today.
And so how are things going now?
Things are going really well now. I'm in a really good space. Thank you, Joe. I'm feeling good in myself. The drug days are behind me. The addiction days are behind me. I see things very, very clearly. I've got a brilliant relationship with my children now. I've got a brilliant relationship with my friends, and I've got a brilliant relationship with my girlfriend.
Beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So are you someone that's quite happy to be in a relationship, or would you say you prefer to be single, or how do you sort of find yourself with the two sort of polar opposites?
When I was younger, I desperately needed to be in a relationship. I needed to be in a relationship because I needed managing and looking after. Bearing in mind, I can't even read and write, couldn't make anything, couldn't go shopping, can't go into a shop, there's loads of things that I can't do, which normal society can. right? That's part of my thing. So I had to have someone around to just be able to do the day-to-day stuff. And emotionally, I love people. I need love. You know, I'm very, very, very tactile. But as I've got older and I've gone through the difficult relationships, I've been wounded by women, to be honest with you. You know, I've been very abusive in my relationships, and I've probably been a really shit boyfriend. And I've also been on the receiving end of really shit women. So I think now I'm at a point where I like to be on my own. I like to have my girlfriend around now to go for a meal, to go to the restaurant, to enjoy good times. What I don't want to do is just be in a relationship for the sake of it, for just doing the humdrum. And also, for me, I find I can only concentrate on either running businesses or new ventures or a relationship. I can just about get my mind to focus on a few things in a very, very crowded room. Yeah. So relationships for me are enjoyment and great times when I've got the time. But other than that, I can't be listening to just the same old fucking rhetoric upside down. And actually, when you look at most relationships, after a while, everyone's bored as fuck.
I know about many couples. They don't even sleep in the same bed anymore, and they are just existing, cohabiting. It's just...
Well, exactly. Yeah.
And I think, you know, society sort of forces it on you. You've got to do this and then get married and be with this person for hundreds and hundreds of years. We know life changes, whether it's with regards to having a job one day and then you get the sack. Your whole life can change on the flip of a coin. So how you can manage that as best you can. How do you expect another person who is not you to then just go with your life and how it's going and be happy with it? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Some people are lovebirds and they're supposed to be together, you know, and you do see you see older generations make it work. I think now in this new throwaway world, you know,
it's disposable. Everything is disposable. It's overconsumed and it's disposable.
I mean, come on, they've made an app now where you can go left or right.
Hundreds of apps.
Hundreds of apps. No. So we're now just looking at relationships based on visuals and ticking boxes.
No one really. It seems to me no one's really putting any effort in and trying. Have you ever been married?
No, I have never ever been married.
Engaged?
I've been close to it. I got engaged to Trushka, who then told me that she lost the ring. Which was
it happens.
Her all over, yeah. And then it turned up 10 minutes later. And then she took it down to pawnbrokers and said, oh, how much was it worth and all the rest of it. Then come back to me one day and told me that the diamond that I went down to Hatton Garden, picked, went and had a handmade ring, drove the geezer mental. All of a sudden, no, that ain't a diamond. I went, really? Well, I fucking know it is because I went down and picked it directly myself. I'm sure marriage is a beautiful thing for the right type of people. I'm either mad sex and madness and all the rest of it, or complete workaholic, or the rest of the time I'm not in the room. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of Prindiville, and I'd like to thank the lovely Joanne for all of your help today. And I've got a quick question for you, Joanne. What is your ideal man?
Goodness gracious me. Is there such a thing? I mean, I don't know. Is there? I mean, I've always had a crush on Gary Lineker.
Right, okay.
Since a very young age.
Is that why you eat them crisps?
Salt and Linekers. So when I was younger, I used to watch Tottenham because my brother was a Spurs supporter, and I used to think, oh, that one's nice. Tan skin, dark hair. And I've always watched him on Match of the Day, and I just think he's really lovely. I know a lot of people don't like him and think he's an arsehole.
The only person you fancy currently at the moment out of all these beautiful men, Ronaldo's, you know, all of these beautiful geezers out there.
Beautiful, but like, do you know what I mean? There's beautiful women, younger women for those people. So I'm not going to go and chase something I ain't got a chance of getting. With Gary, I think Oh,
what? You'll bang on Gary, are you? All right, speak to the camera.
I wouldn't do it otherwise if I didn't think there was something very important to go on.
Okay,
here.
very good, very good.
Yeah.
There was a period where I know you lived in Putney for a while.
I lived near Putney. I lived in Barnes, near Barnes, and
in fact, you lived 2 streets away from Lineker.
I know exactly where his house was.
Yeah, and a few times when I was wandering around the area, I would find Joanne walking up and down Gary Lineker's street, just eating a bag of crisps. So anyway, thank you very much. So Joanne, thank you very much for this episode.
My pleasure.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Catch you on the next one.